Okay, full disclosure, this is actually going to be one of the shortest ever versions of Sharks Night Shift? It's not nighttime. It's 4:06 p.m. We just finished television at 4:01 or 2, I want to say. I literally put on this little zip up here. Didn't even take off the shirt and tie, but let's begin our live stream. What do you say right now?
Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
Quite the results here on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, 6-2 from SAP Center. And if I told you that alone, you would have predicted theatrics, outburst of scoring by Team Teal, just an overall good result in the game. Now, I don't know that the Sharks as a team were that dominant in the game. Certainly Timo Meier was, and I don't want to take away from that, but 5 goals for the first time in 31 years of franchise history. That part about today literally has not sunk in yet. I do feel like we just witnessed it. I just talked about it. You just enjoyed it. You're probably up off your couch or however you were watching, but I'm not sure that we've realized what we just saw. It might take some time. I also want to tell you that on this episode of Sharks Day Shift / Night Shift, I'm actually not going to be doing Q&A. I'm probably only going to be on here for a matter of 5 to 7 minutes. I have to get on with my day, just the timing of things, but I wanted to dedicate just a few minutes, carve this out to talk about the game, where things stand, the maybe rivalry that's been re-energized, reignited between the Sharks and Kings as they entered today, both in playoff position. The Kings holding the 2 spot in the Pacific, and the Sharks entering today holding the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought that the Ducks too, the Ducks, the Kings, and the Sharks today all in playoff spots? And I realize, games played is not even across the board in divisions or in the league, but to be having this conversation now through 40 games, it lets you know that the rebuild in San Jose, the retooling, the retooling happening in Anaheim and Los Angeles, that they're not just well underway. You know, these teams are starting to make strides. So for San Jose, win number 21 on the season. That puts them at 44 points. It was actually Timo Meier's second career hat trick. But when he got 3 in the first period, you knew it kind of opened up the door with 40 minutes left to maybe get a 4th. I mean, potentially get a 5th. It's pretty crazy that he got his 4th, 1 minute and 24 into the second period. That was already his second power play goal of the game. And his 5th goal on the toe drag, that was with about 27 seconds left in the second period. And then the Sharks did not score in the third. Los Angeles did. So that's how we get to a 6-2 final score. As for how Timo scored, 2 snipes, a toe drag, a rebound, and a second chance. 2 on the power play. He scored his 5 goals on 6 total shots. 5 goals on 6 shots. In fact, the Sharks through 40 minutes, and I'll just stop right there. Through 40 minutes, we're getting outshot 30-12. The Sharks had 8 shots in the first period, scored 4 goals. They had 4 shots in the second period, scored 2 goals. Literally through 40 minutes, half of their shots were goals, and 5 of the 6 were from Timo Meier. By the way, Rudolph Spalser's 4 goals on the year, got his second goal in as many games today. Don't want to diminish that. I also think it's important to talk about James Reimer. He comes back today. See, and if I say tonight, I feel like I need to make a $5 donation for every tonight, I might say in the stream. It was today. James Reimer, after 13 days without a game, he was on the IR, lower body injury, and they said it was going back to Christmas. This is something he had been dealing with. So good to see him healthy. Good to see him sharp in his very first game back. You look at now the last 6 games for San Jose, and 5 of them were started by Adin Hill. In all 5 of those, Adin Hill only allowed 2 goals or fewer to the opponent. I know the Rangers scored 3 a couple games back, but 1 was on an empty net. 5 straight games and starts by Adin Hill where he allowed 2 or fewer. To James Reimer, 2 or fewer. Catch my drift? That's 6 games in a row. I love the fact that I don't even know who the Sharks would want to start on Thursday. You keep rolling with Reimer. You get him back in the groove. Do you go back to Aiden Hill? You don't want him to miss maybe like a whole week off. This is a good problem to have all of a sudden. And we're also talking about a Sharks team that prior to today had scored 1 goal in their previous 6 periods. They were snake bit. So to go 2 for 3 on the power play today, to get 6 goals, and I know they were all scored by Timo, so that that changes the tone of who scored and whatnot. It wasn't a wide team effort today. Excuse me, but I just think overall you'll take it. Yeah, would you have preferred for the benefit of the team that, Logan had 2, Burns had 2, Hertl had 1, Meier had another? Sure, I guess that makes for a better feel-good team win, but the fact that your team in total scored that many, and Erik Karlsson had 3 assists. He's now at 500 apples on the career. Tomas Hertl had 4 helpers today. So it wasn't like the entire team was bad or wasn't part of it. But I am here to say there was that dynamic today of a really, really outstanding individual effort by Timo Meier and a pretty good team effort, although I thought the Kings were also pretty good too. Let me also say this. I really enjoyed today in a sense of the potential rivalry reemerging between Los Angeles and San Jose. And I know the Kings and Ducks have their own thing, and everybody talks about the Kraken entering the league. You don't want to be a rival with an expansion team, and let them be rivals with Vancouver at some point. And the Sharks and Golden Knights, that was a thing for several years, but San Jose has not been up to speed with Las Vegas in recent times. I enjoyed most of the 2010s, and the Sharks did get the upper hand on quite a few occasions, definitely not all of them, and we know Los Angeles got their Stanley Cups. But I did enjoy that head-to-head rivalry, those playoff series, those regular season heavy games, all that back and forth. I enjoyed it, and we have not had that, honestly, in a handful of years now. And there's something refreshing about having these two teams back, emerging, feeling good, talking about playoffs. And how about this? As much as we're just enjoying this from a fan perspective, a spectator perspective, how about the fact that all the games the Sharks play against the Kings this year are almost guaranteed to count as it relates to who gets in the playoffs and who doesn't? I mean, literally. If it comes down to 3 points separating the Kings or Sharks or Ducks or whatever, a game or two, literally 2 games head-to-head decide those 3 points. You know what I'm saying? Every single point earned and point that you denied to an opponent is going to make a difference in the playoffs when it comes down to being that tight. So, just to recap, and like I said, I'm not going to get to Q&A on this episode. I apologize for everybody that I know is in the live chat. I know there's some regulars there. I apologize about that. And I know the longer I do this stream, the more people tune in. And I know today's a big Sharks day. I wanted to get on here with some thoughts and recap the games like I always do before signing off and heading home. So the 4-game homestand concludes for the Sharks in pretty dramatic fashion. And yeah, Thursday is going to be the midway point of the season. You have to keep this momentum rolling against a very struggling Seattle team on the road. No question about it. This has been a good stretch for the Sharks. As I said, allowing not many goals, really solid defensively, had their issues scoring, but in terms of today, at least one player found a way to break through that. So, that's been Sharks Night Shift, the abbreviated edition. Yes, it doesn't feel normal. I feel weird ending it just like that. We didn't get into our normal back and forth. We really didn't. But for Timo Meier, goals numbers 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 on the season. 20 goals in 40 games. He hasn't even played all of them. Wait a second. 40 times 2 is 80 games. That'd get us to almost game 82. If I do the math on Timo, 20 times 2? I'm not going to add that up, but 20 times 2 seems like it would be a big goal number, wouldn't it? All right. That does it for Sharks Night/Day Shift. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on Thursday after the game, but I'll probably see you right here on YouTube definitely before that. Hey, thumbs up on this video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right? Have a great rest of your holiday. Be safe, everybody. Bye.